Meghan had us believe that she fell into Harry's arms, that she was so in love. But what if I told you that to her, it was all a game, a long game? Meghan Markle wasn't just falling in love with Harry, she was plotting her way into the palace like it was the role of a lifetime.
I love Suits, the show she was in, and I followed on Twitter 4 of the stars of Suits, including Meghan. And she immediately direct messaged me. She slid into my DMs faster than a greyhound.
Let's start with the receipts. Did you know that just before Meghan became the Duchess Supreme, she had a boozy night at the Scarsdale Tavern, Piers Morgan, with dirty martinis and flirty chatter flowing? Piers thought he'd made a new friend, but by the end of the weekend, he was ghosted. Why? Because Meghan had just bagged Prince Harry, and Piers deleted from her script.
Tweeted at the end of the week, great, or that day I think, or the next day, great to see my friends in London, including Piers Morgan. I was like, oh, great, how nice. Last I ever heard from him.
This is the Meghan pattern in action. Months of charming, using, collecting allies, until someone shinier comes along. Then poof, you're out. Ask Lizzie Cundy, ask Millie Mackintosh, ask Piers. And yet, years later, she wants us to believe that she was just a misunderstood humanitarian who happened to find true love. Please, look closely. This isn't a fairy tale. It's a staircase, and Meghan Markle's been climbing it one carefully chosen man at a time.
That if I didn't say it, that I would do it, and I just didn't want to be alive anymore. And that was a very clear and real and frightening, constant thought.
Before Prince Harry ever picked up the phone, Meghan Markle was already shopping in the British Isle. And no, I don't mean tea and biscuits, I mean British men. Showbiz writer Katie Hine said it herself. Meghan confided she was newly divorced and, in her own words, ready to mingle, but not with American men. She wanted British. That was the target market.
Actually, we got on really, really well, and we did have a huge giggle, and she wanted to find an English boyfriend. So I said, look, I'll help you.
Meet Matt Cardle, the X Factor winner who Meghan slid into online in 2015. She followed him, complimented him, even suggested a meetup. Cardle admitted he was flattered, but when he found himself a girlfriend, he cut the chats. Meghan's last message was unanswered. Ghosted, but not by her. This time, she was the one left on read. Then came Max George from The Wanted. Meghan connected with him on Twitter. Flirty exchanges, friendly chatter. Again, nothing came of it. But that's not the point. She was testing doors. Those doors were all painted Union Jack red. This wasn't random. Meghan wasn't stumbling from one conversation to the next. She was casting a net designed to catch a British celebrity, the kind who could open real doors in London society. Think about it. She wasn't chasing A-listers in Hollywood. She was chasing men who were one tabloid headline away from royalty. So when Harry finally appeared, he wasn't the first choice. He was the biggest catch, and Meghan reeled him in with the same strategy she'd been perfecting all along.
I was going through my phone. There was Ashley Cole, Chelsea footballer. I was trying, but yeah, it was quite funny. But she did want to have an English boyfriend.
That was her plan all along.
Yeah, and she loved being here in London.
Now, let's talk about the night that cemented Meghan Markle's reputation as the queen of ghosting. The famous Scarsdale Tavern meetup with Piers Morgan. For months, Meghan had been sliding into Piers's Twitter DMs. Charming, chatty, playing the friendly Hollywood actress who just wanted a pal in the British press. Piers, never wanted to miss out on some flattery, invited her for drinks. She turned up, ordering dirty martinis, laughed at his jokes, and gave him the full sparkle routine.
Corresponded quite regularly on Twitter, publicly and privately. She began sending me early copies of Suits episodes.
Right.
She'd email me from, places like Rwanda. I thought we had a good sort of friendship building.
Piers probably walked away that night thinking he made a new friend, the kind of friend who'd keep appearing on his shows, giving him access to Hollywood glamour, while she got access to his media power. Mutual benefit, win-win, or so he thought. Because by the end of that weekend, Meghan had met Prince Harry, and Piers, he was history. Cut off, cold ghosted, not even a polite brush off, just silence. He told the story 100 times, but the reason it stings is because it fits the Meghan pattern. Use someone for what they can offer, then drop them the second someone shinier comes along. Ask Lizzie Cundy. Ask Millie Mackintosh. Ask anyone who helped Meghan climb the ladder. They'll all tell you the same thing. When you're useful, she's glued to you. The minute you're not, you don't exist to her. And the Piers pub night is the textbook example. One round of drinks for him, a whole new life chapter for her.
We had 2 hours in the pub. She had a couple of dirty martinis, had a couple of pints. We got on brilliantly. And then I put her in a cab, and it turned out to be a cab that took her to a party where she met Prince Harry.
If you ever need proof that Meghan Markle wasn't born a polished duchess, just hit play on her old interview reels, because nothing exposes the real Meghan like footage that aged like curdled milk. Take the 2013 Craig Ferguson interview. Meghan walked out like she's auditioning for a role as the flirty sidekick. Craig does his usual awkward pause, gag at the end, but Meghan takes it way too literally. She leans in, giggles, tilts her head, turns what's supposed to be a comedy bit into the longest, most uncomfortable silence on late-night TV. You probably can practically see Craig praying for the credits to roll.
All right, let's do an awkward pause and get you out of here.
Okay. Yeah.
If you thought that was weird, wait until you see what she did on Larry King's podcast. Meghan was sitting with her Suits co-star Patrick J. Adams on the show, and barely 5 minutes in, she called her character seductive. But she didn't stop there. She tried to drag Larry into the act with a flirty comment that landed with the grace of a car crash. Both Larry and Patrick immediately picked up their glasses, sipping in unison, just to dodge the awkwardness.
Rachel is the paralegal at the firm.
Seductive?
I don't know. Do you think so, Larry?
Just a comment.
Just throwing it out there.
No, I think she's really savvy. She has this encyclopedic knowledge of the law.
You know what's really wild? Meghan wants us to forget these clips exist. She wants to be remembered as the thoughtful feminist, the humanitarian duchess, the serious woman of substance. But once you've seen her trying to flirt her way through a talk show, that polished act looks like costume jewelry. Shiny on the outside, cheap underneath. Awkward pauses, forced seduction, fake laughs. These aren't bloopers, they're the receipts. The mask slipped back then and the internet never forgot.
She wanted to work here. She actually wanted to be in Made in Chelsea, the show. I remember saying she loved the show.
Really?
But she was a real good, fun girl.
And how's she behaved since?
Well, no, she ghosted me and Piers Morgan.
Now, here's where the script gets a rewrite. After Harry put a ring on it, Meghan Markle didn't just rebrand, she went for a full character reboot. Out went the awkward late-night flirt. In came the philanthropist Duchess, the woman of purpose, the glowing humanitarian with a halo permanently fixed above her head. Suddenly, Meghan was all about causes, about being misunderstood, about presenting herself as a victim of the big, bad British tabloids. The problem is, people had receipts. They'd seen the Piers pub night. They'd watched her cut off Lizzie Cundy and Millie Mackintosh. They remembered the Matt Cardle and Max George chatter. None of that screams Mother Teresa in a tiara. And then came the Oprah sit-down. 2 hours of curated tears and rehearsed outrage sold to the world as her truth. But when you stack it up against the past, It doesn't look like honesty. It looks like a performance. The same way she performed for Craig Ferguson, the same way she tried to flirt with Larry King. The style changed. The act didn't. That's why so many people gag on her interviews now. It's not because they hate ambition. It's because they hate being sold a fantasy by someone whose blooper reel is still one click away.
So we have in tandem the conversation of he won't be given security, he's not going to be given a title, and also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
What?
Now, let's talk about Harry. Because if Meghan's past shows the strategy, Harry's present shows the cost. Look at him now, the once cheeky, confident prince who lit up every room, reduced to a man looking like he's permanently stuck in a hostage photo. Friends who used to be glued to his side have quietly disappeared. The old military mates? Nowhere to be seen. Polo crew? Long gone. His social circle didn't shrink by accident. It shrank because Meghan came with a new script. The old cast didn't fit. And what about Harry's face at events? He's not the center of attention anymore. He's not even a supporting actor. He's the +1 who trails behind while Meghan does the hand gestures, the smiles, the spotlight. This is what happens when you build a marriage on power, not love. When the foundation isn't connection, but calculation, because power fades, influence shifts, and once it does, all that's left is a man who looks like he traded his crown for a leash. Harry was supposed to thrive as the free royal. Instead, he's visibly smaller, less respected, less happy. That's not freedom. That's the price of Meghan's ambition.
And then the next night, they had a solo dinner together, and that was the last I ever heard from Meghan Markle. And I have never heard from her again.
So what happened?
She ghosted me, Ryan. Meghan Markle ghosted me.
Did she? Do you think she just went gone?
I'm afraid. Look, I really liked her. This is why it hurts. No, I really liked her. I just think she's a slight social climber, I'm afraid.
By now, the pattern should be screaming at you. Meghan Markle doesn't just stumble into opportunities. She scouts them, works them, polishes them, and when she squeezes out the benefit, she erases them. Start with the DMs. Matt Cardle, Max George, all part of her early hunt for a British connection. Useful if they stuck, forgettable if they didn't. Then there's Piers Morgan, wined and dined at the Scarsdale Tavern. He got charm and dirty martinis on Friday. By Sunday, he was formatted and thrown in the junk. The ladder keeps going. Lizzie Cundy, Millie Mackintosh, women who opened doors for Meghan in London, only to find themselves dumped once Meghan climbed a rung higher. Use, polish, erase. And then the big prize. Meghan polished that relationship until it gleamed like a Hollywood premiere. But the cracks are showing now, and if you think she won't erase them too, you haven't been paying attention. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Meghan Markle has never been building a fairy tale. She's been running a playbook, and it always ends the same way.
We had to go to this event, and I remember him saying, "I don't think you can go." And I said, "I can't be left alone."
Because you were afraid of what you might do to yourself?
Of course, there'll always be defenders rushing in with the same tired lines. Let's take them one by one. They'll say, lots of actresses flirt on late-night TV. Sure, but Meghan built a whole act out of it, then pretended it never existed. That's not harmless. That's rewriting history. They'll argue, women are allowed to be ambitious. Of course they are, but ambition isn't the issue. It's packing that ambition as sainthood while tossing everyone else under the bus. That's what people choke on. And then there's the classic Piers Morgan just as a grudge. Maybe he does, but the timeline he described lines up perfectly with her pattern. Friendly one night, ghosted the next. That's not a grudge, that's a receipt. Defend her all you want. The facts don't disappear, they just keep stacking up. So here we are. The receipts are stacked. The pattern is clear. Meghan Markle doesn't build fairy tales, she builds stepping stones. And when she's done with one, she moves on to the next. Harry was supposed to be the happily ever after, but look at him now. The smile is gone, the sparkle's gone. He's just the latest supporting role in Meghan's never-ending performance. And here's the real question. What happens when this chapter stops serving her? Because if history tells us anything, Meghan Markle never sticks around when the credits roll. So keep your eyes open. The next ghosting, the next silent erasure, the next carefully staged reinvention, it's already being written. When it drops, you'll know we'll have the receipts.